Autumn's Embrace, Chapter 10. Winter deepened in Willow Creek. The town nestled under a blanket of snow that seemed to grow thicker with each passing day. The streets were quieter now, and as most people chose to stay inside, huddled around fires and sipping hot cocoa. But for Elliot, the cold air, fresh snow were a welcome change. There was something about the stillness of winter that made everything seem clearer, sharper. He felt like the season had brought him with a new beginning, not just for the town, but for him as well. Days had turned into weeks since Elliot had made the decision to stay, and the weight of uncertainty that had once hung over him had slowly lifted. His life had taken on a different rhythm now, one that was shaped by the quiet moments shared with Lily, the slow pace of small-town living, and the satisfaction of building something new in Willow Creek. The farmhouse was nearly complete, his work there a source of pride and accomplishment, and every day he felt more at home, more connected to the town, and to Lily. One snowy morning, Elliot stood at the window of the farmhouse looking out over the fields that stretched behind his property. The snow glistened in the early morning light, untouched and pristine, creating a sense of peace that seemed to settle into his bones. He sipped his coffee slowly, savoring the warmth that spread through him with each sip. It was a quiet day, and for once he had no plans. It was just him, the snow, and the thoughts of what his future might look like. He had always been someone who thrived on goals, on having a clear path laid out before him. In the city, his life had been structured around work, deadlines, and achievements. But here, in Willow Creek, he had learned to let go of that need for control. He had learned to find joy in the moments that unfolded naturally, in the simplicity of a quiet day, and in the comfort of being with someone he cared about. His thoughts drifted to Lily, as they often did. The more time he spent with her, the more he realized just how deeply he had come to care for her. There was something about the way she smiled, the way she laughed, the way she made him feel at ease, that made him want to be around her all the time. She had become a constant in his life, a source of warmth and happiness that he hadn't even realized he needed until he found it. A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts, and Elliot set down his coffee before crossing the room to answer it. When he opened the door, he was greeted by the sight of Lily standing there, bundled up in her coat and scarf, her cheeks pink from the cold. "Morning," she said, her breath visible in the frosty air. "I hope I'm not interrupting." Elliot smiled, stepping aside to let her in. "Not at all. Come in. It's freezing out there." Lily stepped inside, brushing snow from her shoulders as she removed her scarf and gloves. "I was out for a walk and I thought I'd stop by. It's so beautiful with the fresh snow. I couldn't resist." Elliot nodded, glancing out at the window at the winter wonderland outside. "It is. I've been enjoying the quiet." They moved to the living room, where the fire crackled softly in the hearth, casting a warm glow over the room. Lily settled onto the couch, pulling her feet up under her as she relaxed into the cushions. Elliot joined her, the silence between them comfortable and familiar. "How are you feeling?" Lily asked after a moment, her tone gentle. "About everything." Elliot leaned back, his gaze drifting to the flames in the fireplace. He had been thinking about that question a lot lately, how he felt about staying, about this new life, about Lily, and the answer had become clearer with each passing day. "I feel good," he said finally, turning to look at her. "Really good. It's strange because I thought it would be harder to adjust, but it feels right. Being here, staying here. It's like I've finally found what I've been looking for." Lily smiled, her eyes soft. "I'm glad. You seem more at peace now." Elliot nodded, his heart warming at her words. "I think I am." They sat in companionable silence for a while, the sound of the fire and the faint whistle of the wind outside the only noise in the room. It was moments like this that Elliot cherished. The quiet, the simplicity, the way everything felt so effortless with Lily. After a while, Lily turned to him, her expression more serious. "Have you thought about what's next?" Elliot raised an eyebrow, curious. "What do you mean?" Lily hesitated for a moment, as if searching for the right words. "You've decided to stay, and that's wonderful, but I guess I'm wondering what comes next for you. Do you have plans for the future here, or are you just taking it day by day? Elliot leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees as he considered her question. It was a fair one. He had made the decision to stay, but he hadn't really thought much beyond that. His focus had been on settling into life in Willow Creek, on finishing the farmhouse, and on figuring out his feelings for Lily. But now that he had done all of that, he realized that it was time to think about the future. I guess I've been taking it day by day, he admitted. But now that things are settling down, I've been thinking more about what I want, about how I can make a life here. Lily nodded, her expression thoughtful. And what have you come up with? Elliot smiled, though there was a hint of uncertainty in his voice. I'm not sure yet. I know I want to stay here, and I know that I want to keep working on the farmhouse, but beyond that, I guess I haven't figured it all out yet. Lily reached over, resting her hand on his. That's okay. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Elliot looked at her, his heart swelling with gratitude for her understanding. She had always been patient with him, always willing to give him the space he needed to figure things out. It was one of the things he loved about her. If you like this chapter of Autumn's Embrace, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and share and follow, and stay tuned for Chapter 11 of Autumn's Embrace.